This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Yeah. Hi, guys. Myself, Divya. I've been into Pega training and Pega development for about the past 4 years. I'm basically a Pega 𝐶SSA certified consultant and Pega certified decisioning consultant as well. So I generally take up various trainings, various corporate trainings with Pega, starting with CSA, CSSA, then CPBA, then the decisioning courses for trainings for decisioning consultant and marketing consultant as well, and for the various frameworks also. I'm part of development as well as I take up corporate trainings. So yeah, this is about myself. So probably if you would also would give a brief introduction about yourself, probably like if you are aware of Pega earlier or if on what technology you have been working, so that we could all be in the same page. Yeah, Osama, maybe we can start with you.
Okay, my name is Osama. I just transferred, make a shift career from the production of the food industry a few months ago, and I tried to be a big business architect, and I certified as a bigger business architect and last January, and last March I attend the exam for the bigger system architect, and I like to be a developer. So I have the background of the business and the business model and the flow charts and the business need. All these, I have 16 years of the business as a operation manager and general manager and production manager. And now I try to be a developer on this field. I like the bigger field. Now I need to achieve the practical part of the bigger to be a system architect, maybe junior, and start the journey of the bigger. That's it.
Oh, nice. So you are aware of the Pega platform earlier then?
Yes, right? I'm aware. Yes.
Because you are certified, right?
Yes, from the course, from the course itself. But I have a little problem with the final exercise model in the course. This exercise I can't do it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So as you are aware of Pega, yeah, that's nice to hear actually.
Yes, I familiar with the Pega platform and the Dev Studio and App Studio. Yes.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, Chansey, maybe you can go ahead.
Okay, actually I'm just started learning Pega, so I don't really have any background on it. That's why I'm here to actually keen to know what's the basics and what should I learn from this course.
Okay. Good. Yeah, then probably we can go ahead then. Yeah. So basically, like to start with, so in order to learn Pega, you do not have any prerequisites. So it's good that you have some Java knowledge, but it's still okay if you do not have it. You can go ahead. You can always learn Pega. Where PCSA is called Pega Certified System Architect, is the basic certification that we have for Pega developers. So after that, we have the PCSSA, Certified Senior System Architect, after which we have CLSA, Certified Lead System Architect. Okay, these are the 3 levels of certifications we have. So in order to start with a hands-on or a basic development environment, we generally go with the PCSA certification, right? So for today, we'll look at these basic things like the basic introduction to Pega, the various application development studios, the various roles on a Pega project. Okay. Yeah. So before moving on, I think Osama probably would have known the answer for this already. What do you think is Pega? Like, is it a software, or is it a tool? Is it a platform? What have you heard of this terminology earlier?
Pega is a platform. It's a platform to build applications for the association or for the companies or for the maybe the government to build the application. It's a platform. Pega is a platform.
Yeah, that's exactly what Pega is all about. So before moving on to Pega, which is generally called as a BPM tool, so we'll start looking at what is a process first. Okay, because Pega is generally called as a BPM tool, which is business process management, right? So before moving on to business process management, we'll start with the basic thing called as a process first. Okay, so process is something which involves any series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. Okay, so anything which involves some series of actions or steps can be called as a process. Okay, I can call coffee making as a process. Agreed? Because it involves a series of standard steps in order to make the coffee. So I can call coffee making as a process, right? And also I can call a report making also as a process. So you're trying to make a report and you want to send it to your manager or whoever. So that also involves some series of steps, like gathering the information first, then putting them into proper formats, then sending it to the required set of people. So it also involves a series of steps, and I can call that also as a process. Agreed? But what we focus on is about business process. See, not all the processes are important, correct? So when you deal with business processes, we have something called as a collection of related events, activities, decisions, which involve a number of actors and resources that collectively lead to an outcome that is of value to an organization or for the customers. Okay, so according to this definition of the business process, when you make coffee, that is of no use for you or for your organization or for your customers, right? It is of there's no outcome that is generated for you, for the organization or for the customers, right? So I cannot call that process of coffee making as a business process, right? But when you're generating a report and sending it to the manager, that is of value or that is of some positive outcome for your organization or for the customer. So I can call that process as a business process. Okay, so not all the processes are business process. In order to call a process as a business process, I need to satisfy these 6 entities, starting with events, activities, decisions, actors, resources, and outcome. So let us see this in a typical example. Okay, so where all of us are mostly aware of this, e-commerce life cycle, where you are trying to order some, let us take this transaction where you as a customer, you are trying to order a book online. So what you do is you start searching for the various sites for that particular book. You probably have found the book, and then what you do is you look at the various vendors that are manufacturing this particular book, and you see whichever is offering the lowest price. So once you select that, you finalize, then you go ahead with the payment, and once the payment is done, the order is placed, then it goes for the packaging and shipping department, then finally out for delivery, and then the delivery executive will be delivering your book or the product, right? So this is generally what happens in a typical online shopping transaction. So in order to correlate this with the business process, let us come back. Yeah, so now it has to satisfy all these 6 entities, starting with events, activities, decisions, actors, resources, and outcome. Okay, so starting with events, you initiating this particular transaction is called an event. Okay, when you start searching for the book, you look for various sites or various vendors. So initiation of this particular transaction is called an event. Then coming to activities. So the tasks that you perform in the process of your transaction are called activities. Okay. So you make payments, or you search for different vendors, or you look at the other suggestions the website gives you. Something like if you buy a combo of other books as well, you will get this for a discounted price. So all that you do in order to complete your transaction come under activities. So then comes decisions. Okay, so in this process, so wherever you could make decisions, which is something like when you make a payment, you could do it through net banking, you could do it through debit card, you could do it through credit card, or you can choose cash on delivery. So which involves customer's decision here. And looking at the vendor side, the vendors can also have their own decisions. Like if you are, for example, if you take the Amazon Prime, so your book need to be delivered probably by the next day. In that case, the customer wants to send you your book or your product through airways. Or if you are a regular customer, he can send it through roadways. So he'll be able to decide which mode of transport he has to use. So that also involves decisioning there. And then comes actors. So in this particular life cycle of this transaction, so let us see how many actors are involved. Okay, as a customer, you are involved, then the vendor, the manufacturer, the packaging guy, the shipping guy, the delivery guy. So all of these people would come under the actors. Then coming to resources, so these resources are a kind of supporting entities for your business transaction. Okay, assume you wanted to gift wrap your product. The gift wrapping paper will be a resource. Okay, or otherwise when the book is out for delivery, or the delivery guy hands in over your product, he wants to get some e-signature, right? The device which he brings in for e-signature can also be a resource. And finally, what is important is the outcome. So what is the outcome of this transaction? The customer receives the product, he's happy and satisfied. The outcome for the vendor is he receives his money, he is also happy and satisfied. So this is the positive side of the outcome. But the outcome can also be negative. Sometimes when the book is damaged, or sometimes you're not happy with the quality of the book, so you put it for exchange or you put it for return. In that case, the outcome is negative. But either way, there has to be some outcome, positive or negative. So only if all of these 6 entities are satisfied, I can call a process as a business process. So clear? As of now, do we have any doubts?
I think it's fine.
Okay, fine. So then moving on to business process management now. We have seen what is business process. Let's see what is BPM. Okay. And for example, if I have to call some language as a object-oriented programming language, it should satisfy all the OOP principles or concepts. Starting with the basic, there has to be object, there have to be class, then inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation. Certain set of prerequisites in order to call some language as OOP. So similarly, in order to call some tool as BPM, it also has to satisfy a certain set of prerequisites. Okay. Those are starting with the body of principles. Then we need to have some methods and tools to design, analyze, execute, and monitor. So we have some standard set of notations, which is called as BPMN, which is Business Process Management Notations, which are like the standards that are set for any BPM tool. Okay, if myself I want to develop a BPM tool, I should follow these set of prerequisites. Only then I can call the tool that I've developed as BPM tool. Right? So whenever you're trying to execute, or whenever you're trying to monitor your business process on a single unified platform, then we could call that tool as a BPM tool. In the previous example, where we have seen just one transaction where you are the customer, but it's not always one customer for the product, right? You'll have thousands of customers and thousands of business transactions going on, which are at different stages. Probably you have just placed your order. The other customer could have received his order. The other customer may have returned his order. So where the transaction is in different stages. Okay. When I will be able to monitor or execute all of these on a single unified platform, that is called as BPM. Okay. Any BPM, irrespective of, is it Pega, is it other IBM BPM, Appian, irrespective of the tool, BPM is what is all about monitoring or executing your business process. Okay.
Sorry, I just a bit confused. So, is BPMN a subset of BPM?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay, just now you mentioned the BPMN, right?
Yeah, BPMN is like a standard set of rules that have to be followed. It's like there are a set of 10 set of principles, and if only satisfied, I can call some tool as a BPM tool.
How about the one with notation and BPMN?
Yeah, that involves a set of 10 principles. So I mean, currently that is not relevant for us. Like, what are those 10 principles and stuff? So I've just mentioned body of principles there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So then moving on, we look at what is Pega now. Okay. So Pega is basically an application development platform where business users, along with the IT, configure applications using visual tools here. So in general, for any other application development tool or platform, so the life cycle would start with the business analyst, so where they get the requirements from the product owner or the stakeholders, and then they transfer it to the development team. Correct? But unlike other technologies, in Pega, the business users and the IT or the development team would always go hand in hand. Okay, there's always a sync between the business users and the application developers, and most of the application development is done using the visual tools rather than writing code here. Okay, and Pega is recognized as a leader in the BPM category, so we'll see why. Okay. So these are the key differentiating factors of Pega with other technologies. Okay, where you have completely low code or no code. So, Pega, the platform provides most of the functionalities or most of the features, so that you do not need to go ahead and you do not need to write any code. But still, if you want some features that are not existing in the platform, yeah, you can always write your own set of code and you can use that in your application. Then we have something called as model driven. So the business process is now, or it is depicted in the form of a model or a process model in the platform. So we'll see what model driven is. So then most of it is visual tools where you can drag and drop the components and you can develop the application. Then the business users work with IT, where you have a close association between the development team and the business team. And all the documentation that is required is automatically generated. You do not need to sit and document the application. It's all automatically generated and is taken care of. Then Pega supports responsiveness, so which generally means when you develop an application for web, it is intended for web. Where if you try to open the same application in a tablet or in a mobile phone, you will have a distorted view. Probably like the text fields would go here and there. You'll get some horizontal scroll bar. All that would come into picture. Which means for each channel, you should define a separate application. Correct? But that is not the case with Pega. You create or you develop the application once, and that can be used across multiple channels with the same look and feel. That is basically responsiveness about. Okay. So this is the market review for various BPM tools. So if you see, the research frequency for Pega is quite high, which means Pega brings in new features and new functionalities each time. And starting with the versions of 5.1, then came 5.2, 5.3, then 6.1 until 6.3, then 7.1, 2, 3, and 7.4. Now we have Pega Infinity, which is 8.1. 8.2 we have now 8.3. So with the evolution of various versions, they brought in new features. So in order to work with the newer versions of Pega, it is always important that you constantly learn. So which means the research frequency is quite high, and the user rating is also high because of the features that they bring in. Okay, that is why Pega is defined as a market leader in the BPM category. And these are the capabilities that it offers, where we have direct capture of objectives, which means the customer's requirement can be directly put in your application rather than putting in some Excel sheet or any other tracking tool like Jira. You can directly put the requirements in the application. Then we have something called as guardrails, which are like the standards that are set for any sort of application. Guardrails is basically a score starting from 0 to 100. So the higher the score, the better is your application, which means you are bound to be within that standards that are set by the platform. Then we have extensible applications. So you can create framework applications in Pega, which can be extended or which can be reused for other applications. Then the deployments could be on-premise or in the cloud. In cloud, as in I could use Amazon Cloud, or I could use Google Cloud, or whatever. Deployments can be done in both the ways. Then coming to the
Excuse me, please.
Yeah.
Can you go back to the back slides? What the meaning of extensible applications? What does it mean again?
Okay. So in Pega, you could basically create two kinds of applications. One is a framework application and the other is an implementation application. Okay. So framework basically means you create that application as a framework and you can reuse that application or the features of it in another application. Like for example, if you take Spring or Hibernate, we generally call them as frameworks, right? So if you want to use the features of Spring or Hibernate in your application, so what you do is you directly use them. I mean, you do not need to write that particular code from scratch, correct? Which means that is readily available and you're trying to use it. So similarly with Pega also, you can have few applications which are framework applications, and if you want those features, you can directly use them using this extensible applications. So once we start working with, you'll understand this much better.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So then coming to the installation with Pega, you could do it two ways. One is the personal edition, another is the enterprise edition. So any Pega application is basically a web application, so which means you launch the application and it is opened in a web browser. This is not a desktop application, but a web application. So when you say web application, you should have some server, right, where your application is running, which is like the web server. And I could use any application server for this, like Apache Tomcat, JBoss, or Oracle, IBM. Any sort of application server can be used. And for the DB server, you have this either Postgres or IBM DB2, Oracle. Any sort of DB server can be used. The personal edition is like a practice version, you could call, which is like a lighter version. But the enterprise edition, it is not free of cost. You have to buy it and get the licensed version of it, okay, in order to work on the enterprise applications. So then we'll look at the various application development studios that are available. So these studios, which are specific for different roles, this is not available earlier. I mean, until the 7 version, you do not have any of these studios. Starting from 8, we have these studios available for different roles. Yeah. So these are the studios that are available: app, dev, admin, and prediction, which are intended for specific users. Okay. The app studio is basically designed for the business analysts or the basic application developers. The dev studio is for experienced developers or for the security admin. And the admin studio for system administrators. Prediction studio for data scientists and data analysts. Let us look at each one. So this is the app studio. It is basically for, you can design cases. In Pega, we generally call the business process as a case. So all of that case design, UI authoring, channels and interfaces, all of that is taken care in App Studio. And when you talk with the customers as a BA, you could develop the application or you could develop the case type then and there, and you can get it reviewed from the client. So this is helpful for reviews with the product owners or stakeholders. So then comes the Dev Studio. This is completely for the development team, which focuses on the advanced functionality. All the complex rules that are involved, the various security aspects. Then comes the application versioning. Then you could have these parallel developments where multiple teams work together. So all that is taken care in the Dev Studio. So then comes Admin Studio, which is like, it is completely focusing upon the back-end processing related to deployments or related to the background processing that is happening in your application. For example, if you are dealing with any insurance related application where the policies have to be renewed for every 6 months or 1 year, right? I cannot have one customer support executive looking at each of the policies, looking for what has to be renewed when, which is not ideally practical, correct? So I need to run all of these policies in a batch process. So that is taken care in the Admin Studio. So then we have Predictive Studio, which focuses on the AI aspects of your application, okay, where you can develop different machine learning models depending upon the predictive analytics, adaptive analytics, then data related to all these customer interaction history and stuff. So Predictive Studio basically brings in the AI features. Right? So these are the various studios that are intended for different set of people. Right? Yeah. So clear with these studios?
Okay, fine, that's fine.
Yeah. So then moving on, we'll just look at what are the roles that are there in a Pega project. So as like similar to any normal project where we need different set of people with different skill sets or different expertise. Similarly, for a Pega project also we have few predefined set of roles, starting with business architects. So they are the one who work with the product owners or stakeholders to get the requirements, and they define the business rules. We'll slowly get to understand what are business rules, service levels. So as of now, it is fine if you do not understand this as well, but probably just make a note of these, like what are the various roles. Then we have system architects, which basically involve the development team, starting with the CSA, CSSAs, LSAs. So all of these will be part of the system architects. Then, yeah, we need a project manager to look after the delivery of your project. Then we have practice leaders to make sure that the project is going smooth and it is following all the predefined best practices. Then product owner, who is the initiation of your project, who gives in the backlogs, the product backlogs, and he says what features or epics have to be picked first and related stuff. Then we need to have a QA team, to work both on the testing related to the functional aspects and the performance of your application. Then we have a Scrum Master who looks after the agile methodology or the agile ceremonies. Then we have specialty architects. Specialty architects are only deployed or they are engaged only as and when it is required. Right? Probably as a Pega developer, I do not have much expertise on UI UX. Okay? So in that case, I need someone who is a specialty architect or who has an expertise in UI UX in order to make my application look better. Then we have SMEs and system administrators. So SMEs could be they could be an expertise in the domain, or they could be an expertise in the business process. So whenever there's some ambiguity, we could always approach the SME. We could get it resolved. Then we have system admin and the IT team who take care of the deployments and the various aspects of securities and stuff. Probably like on what port your application has to be run, or who can access your application. All that is taken care by this team. And I mean, it is not that for every Pega project you do, I should have all these roles. Not necessary. It always depends upon your project requirement and also the size of your team. Okay. In few scenarios, I could have overlapping roles where the lead system architect, the LSA, could also act as my system administrator who looks after the deployments. Correct? Because probably my team size is just six members in the team. So the LSA or the team lead will act as a system administrator as well, where the roles are overlapping. So it completely depends upon the requirements of the project, that what roles are engaged in your project. Right? So these are the various roles that offers. Yeah, I think maybe we have pretty much discussed more about starting with what is a process. starting with the process. Then we have moved into business process. Then we have looked into BPM. Then we have looked into the Pega platform and the key differentiating factors of Pega's development. Then the various other market reviews. Then we have looked into the capabilities. Then the sorts of installations that we have, and then the various app studios, the application development studios, app dev, admin, and production. And finally, we have seen the roles that are there in a Pega platform. Okay. Be like, probably for today, we are done with the agenda, what we are looking for. So if you have any questions or doubts, yeah, you can ask.
Okay, thank you so much. That's very interesting. I'm asking about this start. I think it's very it's excellent for the exam, to attend the exam as a theoretical things. Is this course has a practical? Are we going to install the Pega platform and try to make a to build an application by ourselves by the end of this course?
Yes, I mean, completely not, because what I would do is I generally, I mean, going forward, it wouldn't be any of this theoretical session. So most of it would completely go with the live demo. I'll be showing how to configure the rules, starting with, creating the application, depending upon, it's mostly like PDN. But I've included some other things that are not part of the PDN course as well. Okay, in order to just get a working model or a working experience of the Pega platform. So it would be mostly like I would show you directly how to configure the rules and stuff. So depending upon each concept, I'll be taking up that corresponding concepts for the day, and I'll be showing it. So once that is done, probably you could always go back home and you can practice those concepts.
Yes, yeah, but we will install the Pega and try to use it by ourselves as a homework. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
When we start this practice.
I mean, probably like once we start with the sessions, in like 1-2 days, you will be able to do that.
Okay, and the practice included every details in the Pega platform, including the validation or routing or the
yeah. Most of the
corresponding
concepts
email.
are yeah, but we do not go with the exercise that is there in Pega. I mean that has some other requirements, as in like I've just tried to put this in an order where you will feel comfortable to learn. But in the exercise of which is there in PDN, that just gives the overall requirements, so that you can do for practice.
Okay, I mean, but this exercise, yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, but the exercise content will not be our main agenda. That is for sure, because we'll be looking at the other details as well. But for practice, you can use that exercise that is there in the PDN course.
Okay, after this course, do you think I can solve this exercise by myself?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, you could do. Yeah. Because we'll be covering all the basic concepts. So once you start with that exercise, that's like a collection of all of these various topics.
Okay.
You will be able to do it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I just ask that for this, if I sign up for the course, will you do any hands-on, like, I mean, practical, or just purely just based on theories?
No, it's not theory anymore. Probably once we start with the application building and stuff, it would no longer be a theory session. It would all be practical.
But the practical, like let's say if I want to install the Pega tools, right? So, like, okay, because right now I did currently install a personal edition on the Pega,
Okay.
but just that okay, because I'm pretty new, so I'm not sure like how do I like play around with the thing lah. Because I understand there's some web and app studio, all this, which I saw in the program, but I don't know how to make use of it lah. So will this course like teach me the basics of it, or y'all will go on to an advanced level? Because I understand
Yeah.
that there are students who actually learn like they know the basics already. So I mean I also don't want to like slow down their progress also lah. Like yeah.
I mean, like once we start with the practical sessions, it wouldn't be this fast anyways. So you will be able to cope up, no issues. And one other thing I wanted to insist on is, it's not like you attend the session and then probably like you come back for the session tomorrow. It shouldn't be like that. You should devote some time to do some hands-on practice as well. Otherwise, while looking at the session, everything looks fine. But when you start doing it, you try to face the difficulty. So it's like probably like 1 or 2 hours each day. You need to put in some time for hands-on.
Sorry, do you mean that I have to like play by myself first, then I come for these courses or what?
No, not required. You can just listen to the session and probably go home, and then you can just practice whatever is whatever we do in the session. That should be fine.
Okay,
Nothing
okay.
yeah, but whatever we have learned, that should be practiced.
Okay, can.
Yeah.
Okay, you will send us the link of the Google Drive for this video, yes?
Yes. The recording, I think Sampath would be sharing that anyways.